So today I'll give you my top 5 stocks to buy and hold forever. I mean, if I could only have 5 stocks in my portfolio today, and that's all I could have forever, which 5 am I taking as a long-term buy and hold investor? So I know this list up front is going to create some anger and some controversy as well, but hey, you guys come here for the truth, and that's exactly what you're going to get in regards to what stock I would put into this top 5. So make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth out the hype, because that's exactly what you're gonna get today, guys. And remember, these are just the 5 stocks that as of today, just today, I want to hold forever. And whenever I think about that sort of thing, and I kind of think about the criteria for this video that I kind of had to use in order to do this, that means that those stocks are not going to be speculative, okay? Or they have great potential, or they're the quote unquote future or anything else of that nature, okay? They are already great stocks and great companies that I feel will continue to be great companies into that future, therefore kind of making them the future. But not one of those things to where there's nothing there. They're just simply the future. Trust me, bro. It's not those type stocks at all are not going to make it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I think these stocks are going to return the best over the next 3 months, 6 months, maybe in the next few years. That's a completely separate list altogether. So actually comment down below if you want to see something like that from me. But this is not that type list. These are the ones that I would want to buy and hold forever. So I don't want, 2 of my 5 stocks to go bust or to go nowhere for the next, forever, right? Hopefully I'm alive and investing for the next 30, 40 years. So I don't want stocks like that on my list. These are the ones I want to hold forever. But also keep in mind, plenty of stocks return incredibly for 2 years, 5 years, 6 months, 3 months, whatever the case is, 1 year, all that sort of stuff. And then you look at them today and some of them don't even exist, right? Think about the 2021 hype and all the future stocks there. Some of those companies don't exist. Some of them went bankrupt. Some of them are still, just terrible companies overall and are probably going to be terrible companies into the future. Like I said, back in 2021, a lot of the hot stocks are either bankrupt or just crap stocks to own right now. And I don't think anyone thinks that as a type stock that they want to have as a cornerstone of their portfolio for a lifetime. But in 2021, everyone had to have those stocks. And they were the best stocks ever until they actually weren't the best stocks ever. They were the future until they weren't the future. So for me, when I think about the best stocks to hold forever, I need sustained performance through multiple cycles, right? Black swan events, all kinds of macro uncertainty or macro up and downs. If they had great performance and survived those times and then thrived on the back end, I know that I'm actually reducing my risk that I'm taking in that forever type of stock. So that means there are some of my favorite stocks right now today that aren't going to make this list because they are still early in their growth stage, and they might very well get there later on, right? And supplant one of these, but I have to go off of today, and they just haven't been through the fires yet. They just haven't been through those terrible times yet to really know, are they going to actually be that stock you want to hold forever or not? So let's start with the first stock, which is Amazon. Now, my question to you guys is, over the course of our lifetimes here, or at least mine, I guess since it's my list, are people going to spend more or less on Amazon in the future? Well, I think it's the definitive. They're going to continue to spend more and continue to spend more. And that's exactly what earnings has told me for over 20 years now. Now, the next question I got to ask myself is, in the future, are more people going to buy in person, or are they going to buy more and more online? I think the answer is definitive there, and every year it shows it. Less and less in person, more and more online. And when you think about Amazon and some other things of that nature, what's their lead in 2-day, 1-day, 2-hour shipping times? Pretty freaking large, right? And they continue to improve it and expand that everywhere. I know a lot of folks are trying to keep up, but I can get that 2-day, 1-day, 2-hour thing anywhere in the country here in the US. Sometimes I can get that from a Walmart. Sometimes you can't. It just kind of depends on where you're at and depends on what you buy and everything else of that nature. So Amazon's lead and all that to me is light years ahead, and it's so capital intensive and logistically it's so hard to do. Man, I don't know too many companies that can spend the kind of CapEx responsible to actually get in there and actually compete on a high level to really hurt Amazon. That includes, obviously Target and Walmart and everybody else. So I think that lead is significant, will continue to be significant. And what other mega cap stock pours money into the business to still improve and expand it like Amazon has done? I'm not talking about right now where everybody's spending a ton of CapEx on AI. I'm talking about through the history of these companies. How many folks continue to pour money into the business to continue growing and expanding out into new markets and new niches and everything of that nature? No mega cap pours more money into that and expanding that business than Amazon was. So I feel like they would continue to grow into the future. They've taken that Bezos ethos of just continue to pour money into the business and make the impossible possible, and just do that rinse repeat for decades and decades. And I think they will continue to do that for decades and decades in the future. So Amazon's definitely the first one on my list that I just basically want to have forever. Now, number 2 is Apple. I told you this list gets a little bit controversial here, but we're not even to the controversial part yet. We're still in the easy part, okay? But I've been hearing Apple is dead since probably right around 2016 or so, was when I really started hearing that narrative all the time. And, they don't innovate, they don't do this, they don't do that, all those sort of things like that. Well, thank goodness I did not listen to any of that, okay? Definitely didn't listen, definitely made a lot of money. Now, a lot of money left on the table there, folks that got out of Amazon because it was quote unquote dead. Now, I would agree this one might be the slowest grower of the group into the future, but I would also say this stock out of all of them is the one where money flies for safety now when tough times come. So money flies to Apple, like Walmart, for example, during tough times, but Walmart doesn't have the advantage of Apple, which has basically their one product hit away from growth rates sending the stock flying, and growth rates that could outpace or at least keep up with the growth rates of the rest of the Magnificent Seven out there. They're just one product away from that there, and to say they'll never do it, I don't know if that's necessarily the best bet I want to take. Either way, I'm still getting reasonable growth, and of course that flight to safety as well. So for me, it makes worth owning forever, just simply to keep it more on the safe side of my portfolio there, kind of like an anchor per se, with the call option of, hey, they have one hit product and that massive install base and ecosystem out there. And you're talking about a big run in Apple into the future there. So for me, definitely one I want to have in my portfolio. Number 3 is Meta. Now, let's think about this here for just a second. I know it's controversial. I know everybody, has various takes on this. But bottom line is, Zuckerberg is still young. He will probably still be the CEO whenever I die because I'm older than he is. So he's probably still going to be there in the end. And it's not like he's not continued to push Meta to new heights. Every year he's owned the company. The monetization pipeline for Meta is long, and there's a ton of it that is still untapped. And remember, they have billions of users. More than half the world uses their products, and that is growing, which is astonishing, given their levels there. So for me, although I think it's a choppier ride than a lot of the other stocks on this list here, is definitely one that I can't ignore. I can't ignore the fact that they just constantly print money. The business is an incredible business model, and Zuckerberg is not content. He's not out there trying to be a celebrity. He's not out there trying to, woo the public or do all this other silliness. As a matter of fact, he's really just an odd guy all the way around. But his baby is Meta, and he wants nothing more to Meta to just continue to be a great company into the future and be a part of whatever that future is there in the business. And the amount of capital that they have and the amount of money that they print allows them to continue to do that as long as he wants to keep his foot on the gas. And for right now, at least, he's definitely got his foot on the gas. He is not distracted by all the other things out there. He is laser focused on Meta and continuing to drive Meta forward. So that's absolutely a guy I want in charge. And it's definitely why that stock is on my list. Now, next up is Google. Guys, I don't know what to say. I've been beating the drum on this one for years now. Hopefully everybody's starting, it actually feels like everybody's getting on board here with what not only Google was doing and how stupid undervalued it was when we were just gobbling up shares, but in regards to the business itself, that it's an incredible business, okay? And nobody does ads better than Google does, except for maybe Meta. I definitely think you could do that. But to me, when I look at Google's core businesses, all of them across the board, it is a huge moat that is simply growing in the end. Think about this for a second. Google owns YouTube. Obviously Google, biggest search engine in the world. YouTube is number 2. The most watched thing on a TV, on a smart TV, is YouTube. Not cable, not HBO, not Disney Plus, not not ESPN, not any of the other crazy things you think that would definitely be there. Definitely got to be ahead of YouTube of all things. It's not. YouTube is number 1, and it's growing. The lead is growing. I think you can make the case that actually Netflix's biggest competitor, which by the way, more people watch YouTube than Netflix on their smart TV. Think about that for a second. But nonetheless, Netflix's biggest competitive threat is YouTube. It's not the other streaming services. So for me, when I look at them, their core businesses have huge moats. They're disrupting everything. Right now, they are winning with AI. Now, it's still early in AI, so I don't want to call them the winner or anything else of that nature. But they're definitely right there at the top with everybody else. They're not behind at all, despite the narrative out there, which thankfully has flipped. And they're expanding into every single area of the potential future that's out there. Where we're talking about autonomous vehicles, AI, you name it, they are playing a part in it somewhere. How the heck could I not want a business like that? Oh, by the way, Google tends to do things the right way, not for short-term gains on earnings calls and flash and dash and all these other announcements and all other sort of stuff like that. That's not what they do. They just go, hey, you know what? We got a plan. We're going to execute on that plan, and we'll see where all the chips fall whenever it actually matters. When it's time to print money to that bottom line, when it's time to have innovative products, not announcements, actually get yourself there. That's where Google shines, and that's absolutely the type management team I want running my business. Now let's talk about the one stock that didn't make this list before getting to the last stock. And it's going to be controversial, and I'll give you the reasons why as well. But the stock that didn't make the cut was SoFi, despite the fact we talk about SoFi a lot on this channel because that's what you guys want. You guys, I let the viewers drive what type videos I make. And right now, SoFi are the type videos you guys are clicking on and want the most. That's why I'm making them the most. Now, this one could be my biggest gainer overall into the future, okay? Could be. Although I actually believe my last one will be the biggest driver into that future. And again, remember talking about 30, 40 years here, okay? But this one also could be a laggard as well compared to these other stocks, depending upon how their journey goes, because it is too new in its journey to be considered, okay? Is it on the right path? Absolutely 100%. If they continue executing over the next few years, will I have to bump another name off this list to plug this stock in? Absolutely, I will. But when we are talking about buy and hold forever, okay, a stock like this is just too early in its journey, and it's really hard to add to this list and bump another player off of it. The way I kind of, I don't know, the best example I can think of here is it's kind of like, this is the Hall of Fame, okay? We'll just call it that, all right? Hey, top 5 Hall of Famer, Mount Rushmore of athletes, whatever the heck you want to call it, right? This is basically like, if I put SoFi on this list, this is like putting, you know, a young player who's 2, 3, 4 years into the career on a Hall of Fame or a Mount Rushmore type trajectory. But if I put them on this list, that's not really how that works, right? You could say, hey, they're definitely pointing in that future there, but they need more time. They need more seasons. They need to prove themselves over more time in order to actually get into that upper tier. So I love this stock, the company, the management team, and the direction that they were going overall, how they're executing. I love everything about it, but they need to continue to execute in order to be on this list. And if they do, I'm going to have to make a tough choice and bump somebody off the list here. But like I said, this is just like a all-time great player early on in their careers. You don't put them in the Hall of Fame when they're 5 years in. Yeah, matter of fact, I think you got to wait 4 or 5 years after you retire before they put you in. So, you know, we don't have to wait that long with stocks, but you definitely need to, you know, prove it over a longer period of time there with this company. All right, so on to the final stock, and that stock is Palantir. All right, I hear you guys right now. How can you include Palantir when Palantir is way too new, just like SoFi is as well? What you just laid out there, Luke, this makes no sense. All right. Now, I got you. To be clear, it is a new stock, okay? But it's not a new company. They are over 20 years old now. They have proven to have steady growth over that time and to be able to execute in any environment. Think through the past 20 years, especially in terms of government here in the US and all the chaos and everything else that's gone on, obviously wars, everything else that's gone on, and they have continued to grow steadily underneath all of that. They also have something every company and most governments want and need, and nobody else can provide it except for Palantir. Palantir's product is proven, it is deployed, it is far less capital intensive than a lot of stocks out there, and is already printing cash at ridiculous numbers that we have not seen in a long, long time, if not ever, in regards to earnings performance. But again, I feel comfortable adding them because they have a 20-year track record before ever going public. So although I feel like SoFi is obviously in terms of trajectory and everything else doing very, very well, it doesn't have the same history that Palantir has of execution over a very, very long period of time. I also believe that Alex is in it for the long haul and 100% focused on Palantir. Of course, I believe Noto is too as well with SoFi. But in regards to when you think about any other stock that you kind of add to this, hey, Alex is here. He's been here for obviously 20 plus years of the journey, and he's 100% focused on Palantir. That management team is locked in and rolling in all cylinders. So I love that management team. So in my opinion, Palantir is a safe play long-term with more potential for growth than the other stocks on this list, okay? And that to me is just a combination that's hard to beat, and I've got to put that on there. And obviously, if others outperform, I'm okay with that too, right? I still win regardless of who on this list actually ends up being the biggest winner. And always keep that in mind, guys. It's almost impossible to predict the biggest winner. It's not necessarily what I'm trying to do here. I'm simply trying to give you guys a framework for if I had to only have 5 stocks to buy and hold forever, these are the ones that I would have, and these are the reasons why. But of course, if you want to see the exact stocks that I'm buying right now, see my complete watch list with price targets, obviously learn how to do evaluation, learn how to actually set up a plan to execute to all the way through and make yourself a better investor. I may have left something special down in the pinned comment for those of you guys interested, where you get, obviously 5 free courses, free coaching, the best 6, 7, and 8-figure Discord out there. So much involved. Check it out. It's the pinned comment. See if a membership's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.